What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the B-SRTN podcast.
I'm single Ricky.
I am taking Nick. We are without Brandon again. What are we going to do with him?
I miss him. Like what's up?
Yeah, 2 screens is never good as 3.
True. I agree.
So,
He's
well,
horribly missed, but they've been very busy lately, so
we miss you, B. He'll come back. He'll come back. At least we hope he will. So, cool. Well, let's. I got a couple things we gotta really get honed in here before we get some special stuff happening. First thing I gotta do, if you don't notice, but I got a pretty sick hat on today.
it
And if
is.
you guys can't tell, it says Top Bin 90 for my boy Jorge and his company Top Bin 90, who follows Charlotte FC. First game is actually today. I will not be watching it. Unfortunately, I have a wedding to go to. But shout out to this guy, man. He has worked his butt off from Charlotte FC becoming a team, even the thought of it, to now being, in interviews, media rooms with this team. Shout out Top Bin 90 on Instagram, Top Bin 90 TikTok, topbin90.shop. He's got hats, shirts. Go check out his merch. I think this hat is sold out from what he told me. But go check it out. Check out Top Bin 90. He's the man. And if you love soccer, Charlotte FC, MLS, he's the guy to watch. So
you got a limited edition hat.
it was open for pre-sale, like pre-ordering. I ordered it, and then when I posted about it yesterday or day before yesterday, they posted and said that it was sold out. So
Wow, that's awesome.
So when they come back, go get it. So, and then I think you've got some pretty big news that we need to share based off of last week's episode.
Yes. So today's the Charlotte FC's first game, and Charlie made the middle school soccer team. So excited. This was a grueling week. So they were supposed to have tryouts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But if you were watching the weather at all on Thursday, there was some lightning. So they did not practice. The coach just talked to them for an hour. We picked them up a half an hour early, and they pushed it to yesterday. So I had another whole day of stressing and worrying and everything else. But she came home and she made it.
I mean, first of all, when we were talking about this the other day, and I know we've kind of recorded a couple of days, which is great, but we talked about this. Like, this was our real and true about like kids in sports and kids doing this, and you were already kind of frustrated or stressing a little bit that you had to stress more on Thursday, and then they push it to Friday.
Yes, it was torture, complete torture.
All worth it. Obviously, she made it. I've coached Charlie. She is a phenomenal soccer player. I get to coach her starting Tuesday in a couple of days. So I'm excited. I'm excited that she's going to be on the middle school team. I'm excited that she's playing with another organization, or at least practicing with them. It's exciting times right now.
It is. It is. We're pretty pumped in this.
That's it. And an even more exciting time to welcome this and kind of present this. We got a special guest for you guys today.
Yay!
Right? And I always call Ricky our wild card, but Ricky, you ain't the wild card today.
That is actually a relief.
I mean, you still need to remember it's family friendly.
I know.
But you're not my wild card today. Actually, wild card's a buddy of mine. We met a couple years ago. We were working together, and I don't know, complete opposite kind of personalities in most ways. And we built a pretty good friendship. Shay and I have brunch, lunch, dinner with them every couple weeks, once a month, something like that. Just to stay in touch. We've built kind of a good friendship there. We like a handful of things that each other like. So really good friend of mine, and as it should be, in dramatic fashion, let's welcome on special guest, Mr. Trey Lewick.
Hello. It is I. I told you it'd
Wanda
be
Max,
different every time I come in.
it's Wanda Maximoff's son in the flesh.
You've heard of Billy Kaplan? Now get ready for Silly Kaplan.
I love it. I love it.
Well, welcome, Trey. You wanna tell everybody a little bit about yourself real quick, and then we'll hop into the episode.
Oh my gosh. What's to tell? Yes. So my name is Trey. I read a lot. Nick can definitely attest that I am obsessed with my cats. I always tell everyone just because they're adopted doesn't mean we love them any less. In fact, my oldest is poking his face in here right now, so I would expect an intrusive entry at some point. But we'll try and limit that as much as we can. Yes, definitely worked with Nick, formed a very fast friendship where I think it was just like this person is so polar opposite from who I am that like there's just something like really cool about having that. So I don't know. They just sat us next to each other and it was like almost instant bond. Um yeah, worked together for a couple years, made that friendship. And here we are, still joking around, liking the same things and all that.
Trey's been begging me since we started the idea of the podcast. He's like, "You gotta have me on." Nick, put me on the podcast. I'm like, "No, Trey, just chill out." He's like, "No, but like I need to be on." I'm like, "Trey,
Mhm.
Yes.
calm
Yeah.
down." At some point,
So to
and
that point, it's been a bucket list item for a very long time to be on a podcast, and it doesn't even matter like what the syndication is, like million listeners, 5 listeners, 27 listeners, 20,000 like I'm in. So,
I'm
you
I'm so glad that you said that because I was going to ask you if it mattered the level of audience.
no, I think like honestly, even something a little bit more like localized is probably like a better way to start, right? Because it's lower, it's lower consequence. You can embarrass yourself, and it's like, well, I'll just move then, because it's probably all people that are in our communities that would listen to this. So,
you haven't heard this, but on the last episode, the number 5 came up with Ricky, and you want to share why you pulled number 5 out of your hat, like what it was? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. You know, my memory is horrible.
We were doing something, and instead of saying she has a 4 head, she said she has a 5 head.
uh,
Yeah, that's it. I have a 5 head.
I used to feel like mine was fine, but I think that I'm getting to that. Maybe I shouldn't be like ousting myself like this. I think I'm getting to that age where it's like starting to creep back a little bit, and I'm just like, what? Why don't I have as much bangs as I used to? And that's just like a confusing experience for me.
All right, well, let's do this because if not, go ahead, Ricky.
I was just going to say it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and to that point, I'm pretty sure today my first delivery of hymns is getting delivered, so I'll be spraying down the scalp tonight, and praying for results.
Love it.
Hims, if you want to sponsor an episode,
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Free promotion. Sorry about that.
I'm okay
Living
with
up
it.
to
I don't
that
care.
wild card title.
We're just waiting on somebody to say, "Hey, we'll sponsor an episode."
I mean,
Um,
oh, if I'm an avid listener, by the way, Trey, I listen every week. I do a little
I'm good.
from the office to one of my customers on Tuesdays, and so I listen every week faithfully. But I'm not 100% sure that of our few listeners that we have, I don't know that you mentioning hymns is going to convince anybody to go buy it. So
Well,
free sponsorship. Don't worry about it.
if not
uh,
them, this episode can be sponsored by my ever increasing real estate on my forehead. We'll just use it as a billboard, and we'll just put like B-SRTN. I'll tattoo it.
love that. All right, so let's do this. Let's get into some silly. It's probably gonna pop up right down there, like normal. Stop, Ricky. Now I have to put it over there. All right, let's do this. I got some would you rather's, and these are just picked up things. I just picked these
Like and
randomly.
subscribe below. Click here to see our social media. Click here to go to Hims and get hair treatment.
I'm not doing any of that. All right, would you rather? Here we go. I got 3 random ones. Would you rather be an unknown superhero or a famous villain?
Mm.
All right, here's my thought process. I'm going for the unknown superhero because I just don't think that it's in me to be a villain. I just, there are a lot of people I don't like. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of people I don't like, but I don't dislike them enough to like do any kind of harm to anybody. I hope that's a good thing.
Well, you got to think though. Gru from Despicable Me was a villain, but he was kind of a nice guy.
True.
So you
I
I
could
think
be
like
I
that
would
kind
put
of.
him more. I think I would put him more like anti-hero, though. You know,
Like Deadpool.
Uh, Deadpool
Shameless
might be
plug.
villain. He might be villain at this point. I don't know. There's like a lot of killing there.
He's an anti-hero. We're leaving him there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I think I would also have to go unknown hero. I don't know that I have. I agree with Ricky. I don't think I have that villainous side to me. I definitely have the whole like. I could probably do like a revenge arc. Like maybe if there was like a significant like character death, and then my hero was like, I have to go on like a spree, but then like finds himself in the end, and like centers himself, and maybe learns to like meditate or something.
Namaste.
Namaste, hero.
See, this is why I
Namaste on
brought
the right
Trey
side
up.
of the law.
This is why I brought Trey because that was philosophical in a way that the three of us normally wouldn't have done. So,
I mean, you
uh,
heard my explanation and then you heard his.
I there's something about my brain that's just like, hey, take this one statement and give it a full plot line.
I love it.
I don't know.
yeah, Trey was the one that, like, you got AI now. When you type an email, you can be like, I want this to be a friendly email, or a passive aggressive email, or a professional email. Trey just was mine. I was like, hey, Trey, read this and tell me how to make this not so mean.
But then sometimes I'd be like, actually, leave that one piece in. They need to hear that. I'd be like,
Just a little
is
spicy.
it is
He's
mean,
your
but
chat GPT before chat GPT.
I basically put the T in it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, and we got more tea later, so we'll keep that for then. I'm going opposite of y'all. I'm kind of like y'all. Like I'm not the villainous type, so I want to be something different than who I am normally. I'm gonna go famous villain.
Ooh.
That's a good thought process too.
But
Well, and there's
I want to be like the villainous person at night, but the nice guy during the day.
I was just gonna say, I think there's nothing more iconic than like a really flamboyant's not the right word, but flamboyant would be a good example of like you have iconic villains out there, right? Like think of like Jafar from Aladdin. Like big staff, giant hat, jewel in the middle of his forehead, talking parrot, staff turns into a snake at one point. I think he turns into a snake at one point. It's been years since I've seen Aladdin. But like that's an iconic villain, right? Because you have so much like cool stuff there. So I think famous villain, if you're not like causing too much harm, if you just do like a little light villainy here and there, like smattering, um, that's really the sweet spot.
Nick, go smatter some villainous. Next, why do we keep talking about the forehead? And then
I'm
lastly,
gonna have to get
I
Botox
love
after this.
that Nick wants to be like a reverse Batman. He's like, I just want to go out at night and do bad things, but I want everyone to like me during the day. I love that.
You saying that reminds me. I know we've all seen the video. It's from like early 2000s of the kid that stole his grandmother's car, and they're interviewing him. They're like, "Why did you do that if you knew it was bad?" He's like, "I just like to do bad stuff. I just want to do hood rat stuff with my friends."
There it is. I believe the exact phrase. I just like to do hood rat things with my friend.
Yes.
My friend, he smokes real cigarettes. Oh, okay. Next, this one might be controversial. This one might be really tough to answer. Would you rather give up heat and AC or the internet?
100% heat and AC.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone. It's been great. Thank you.
That was
No.
quick, Ricky. That was so fast.
I know, I know. I did it because I knew that was actually the opposite. So anybody who knows me knows that I am wild about temperatures. Like I have to be perfectly comfortable, or something's gonna happen. If I'm too hot, it's gonna feel like I have to go to the bathroom. If I'm too cold, well, I'm never. Listen, I will start a fire in my own house. I'm never going to be too cold because that is one thing I just absolutely cannot stand. So yeah, I would definitely give up the internet because my friends will have it.
Oh, I thought you were answering that the reverse. I thought you were saying that you would give up heat and AC.
I did, but it was a joke. Because
Okay.
anyone who knows me knows that that will never happen, ever, ever, ever. I don't care. Like, hopefully nobody from Duke Power is listening. Do not raise prices, but I don't care the price I'm paying it.
Yeah, click here if you wanna pay more for your electric bill.
Do not click.
I,
Yeah, no, I completely hard agree. And I have like a 2 to 3 degree window where I'm comfortable, and outside of those very safe degrees, I'm 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 not a good person. I'm probably a famous villain just for that. Um, so no, no, get rid of the internet. Do you know how many books I have on my bookshelf that I haven't read? I'll find something to do. Listen
Yeah,
to me talking right now. I'll just annoy someone. No, I cannot give up the climate control.
no, I'm with you. Like, seriously, that is, ooh, I can't play with that.
well, first off, I like the callback that Trey did. That was great. I love a good callback. It might have been better than my four-head callback, five-head callback. So yeah, I'm the same way. Like I don't want to be hot where I'm sweating, and I don't care how cold I am. I'm kind of okay with the cold. I can give up the internet. Like I could probably do that and be okay.
Mm.
I don't want to.
It'd be a return to a simpler time, honestly.
That's very true.
Back in
I
the
mean,
day, you just jumped on your bike, you agreed to meet someone somewhere, and if they didn't show up, you were just confused as all get out.
yes. And I'm like
Well,
Trey, I've got tons of books on my bookshelf that I haven't read yet. And the ones that I have read are ones I've kept for a reason. I will reread them.
so the message here is read more, people. Get off your phone, get off the internet, and do some reading.
Right.
I can't wait to see that big sign. You guys look over here, read more.
Thanks,
Click here to
Ricky.
see what I'm reading. Click here to see what Ricky hasn't read. Click here to see if Nick can read.
All right, we're really going to upset Nick today, Trey. We got to
That,
start behaving.
first of all, Trey's last question, that's a hard no. No, can't do that one. So, all right, last one, because if not, we're just going to keep. This is going to be an hour and a half episode. I love it. Would you rather be an extra in a blockbuster film, biggest film ever, or have the biggest role be the star of a box office flop?
Oh, box office flop.
Mm.
100%. The movie flopped because of the plot, not because of my acting.
But how do we know that?
Oh,
It
because I'm
doesn't say.
because I can act.
Uh,
Gonna have to take my word for it. I used to do improv and it was so much fun and like it really was good and we always had a great storyline and yeah, so I'm taking that big role so that the next big movie can see me.
I think sometimes the flop ends up being more iconic than the
Yeah,
serious stuff.
yes.
And listen, there's Razzies for a reason. They give out awards for movies and performances being particularly bad. Um, who
I'm being
was it? I
asked by
think.
Johnny Cash.
Hi,
So
Johnny
I
Cash.
and to meet you, Trey.
I'm obsessed.
Don't forget
Oh, I
sticking
love his little green
claws
eye.
in my leg. So I had to pick him up.
Needy baby.
Yes.
There was a recently, not maybe not recently, within the past handful of years. I think there was an actor who I'll have to look this up who it was. I think that they had, 2 movies come out in the same year, where one was, like, critically acclaimed and won some award, Oscars, something of the like. But the other movie was such a bad flop that I believe she put it in, like, she filled a wagon with DVDs or, like, Blu-rays of the movie and brought it to the Razzie Awards, and I believe won a Razzie for being so bad in the movie, or the movie being bad or whatever. And then she was just giving out copies of her bad movie at the award, which to me was like, iconic way to flop, right? Like,
Yeah,
you have your other award, I've done well over here, so if this one isn't doing well, just embrace it, right? And just be like, "I did this thing so terribly, you're not gonna believe it. You should watch."
I love
Like,
it.
what confidence?
Hey, note to self.
I can't do it by myself though. Like I have to have co people.
It'll be an episode where we're all together. You're doing improv. So
Can we
thank
invite
you
Trey
for that.
back? Trey, will you improv with me?
I'm improving right now.
He's trying hard not to do something he shouldn't. Remember, Trey, family friend.
Yes, and.
All right. So what? So are you on the same line as Ricky? Or are you picking the big role in the flop?
It's hard because I feel like an extra can land so well too, right? Perfect example of an extra going viral or, like, someone who wasn't a big role in a movie recently. I don't know if y'all have seen the Wicked movie that just came out, but, like, TikTok completely blew up about this one girl in a song who just, like, had a bob and, like, did a dance move where her bob moved really well, right? Like, now everyone knows Bob Girl on TikTok from Wicked. Perfect
Yeah,
example of, like, you can have 2 seconds in a movie, and if you own it well enough, which I guess goes to the opposite point of, like, you can flop the correct way. I don't know. I mean, what's not fun about, like, being exposed, right? Or being on camera or, like, getting that opportunity? Just shine. Whatever you do, just shine. That's my message.
Did you even say anything, or did you just mouth it?
that's
I'm not
That
putting
made me.
anything over here. I'm not. Nothing's going over there.
Oh, should we do the episode like we're on the Brady Bunch?
Ricky, you're looking the wrong way. Oh, all right. Well, that's it for some silliness. That was kind of crazy.
it.
Real and true. This one might get a little out of hand, so I'm gonna have to keep you guys on a strict timer for this one, because I think if it goes the way I think it's gonna go, it could it could get a little rough. It's gonna get a little rowdy up in here.
Well,
So real and true. Let's do this. You ready? We're gonna go right here. Bam. Real and true. Um, let's talk about the public school system. So Trey used to be in teaching, left teaching to come do what we were doing together. Had never been in that industry before, just like I hadn't. But you left. You went to college. You went to school for education. You ran that for a few years. I know you crushed it for a few years. You worked in a couple of different systems. Um, but I think what I really want to like, because I think a lot of people have this idea of like the school system should have some reform, should change a little bit, um, should kind of clean up what it's doing and fix some things that aren't right. So I'm thinking, let's talk about from your perspective. And Ricky, I think you've got some insight here too. Y'all talk about what's really good about the school system, what works, what is not really good about the school system, and what is not working. And if you could change a couple of things, one or two things, what would they be, and how would you change them?
wow. Oh, so much to unpack there, but we will keep it brief and succinct. Um, So my hot take with the school system, I'll start with things that I like because I think it's good to start with positivity. Um, so I really do appreciate in the past, gosh, the years are passing quickly. In the past, like 20, 25 years or so, there's really been a push to move to like really disciplined, standardized education. So as opposed to, teachers having like complete autonomy, and I do think autonomy in education is a good thing, but as opposed to having this wild autonomy where you kind of come in every day and say, okay, this is in the fourth grade book, I'm just going to teach this page. having a known standard of like, this is specifically what we need a child of this age or development to know. And then, these are the steps that come in the grade before, these are the steps that come in the grade after, and kind of build that way. I think that's really important for kind of getting all students on the same page and making sure, whether you're privileged to some extent or disadvantaged to some extent, that you have access to education. Um, with that said, I think a big thing that came along with standardized education that really rubbed kind of everyone the wrong way is the testing, right? And that's kind of where you'll see a lot of disagreement when you have education conversations. But I think that if you start to talk about testing and over testing, you tend to see so much less disagreement because I think everyone kind of knows that it's gone overboard. My personal take is that that has to do with funding and money and contracts behind the book publishers that make those tests. So, Houghton Mifflin, Pearson, not huge fans of those companies myself personally, just because I feel like having everything tied to high stakes testing ruins the experience. And I have very strong opinions that testing should always be used to measure where students are and think about your next steps. I think it's really, really important to use that test data the right way. But right now, it just kind of becomes we test at the end of the year. In certain grades, you might pass fail based on that. In other grades, you might panic about pass fail because you don't know because you're too young. And then it ends up in this situation where you get the test scores 6 months after the next school year. What is that being used for? They're in the next grade now. So how does it benefit the student? It doesn't. It's just making money for a company. So that's my take.
Ricky?
I agree. I think they test way too much. Test brings a lot of stress and pressures onto kids. My daughter doesn't test well, but she's a straight A student. So what does that mean, and where does that fall into this equation? I think education has changed drastically since COVID. Also, um, if there's a snow day, there's no snow day anymore. Now they just assign them work. So,
Mhm.
and I mean, that's good on one hand, but bad on another because we don't get snow here often. So when there is snow, the kids want to play in it. They don't want to sit at a computer and do their work. And this last one that we had, they sent them home actually with like a folder full of papers. And it was enough work that it would have kept Charlie busy the whole day. Meanwhile, the teachers sent this paperwork home and they got to go enjoy their snow. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there again, also ending on the positivity. I couldn't homeschool my kid. I know that. Um, yeah, I'm not smart enough for that. And Lord knows I do not have the patience for it. Yeah, I mean, I love the schools. I love what they do. I went to Catholic school most of my life. High
With
school was
with nuns or
yes, actually one of the nuns just
cool.
died like 2 days ago. She was like 94,
Oh, I'm so
93.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's all right. She was the principal too.
Oh, that's
But
sad.
I mean, most of mine was parochial, but when I got to public, it's a lot. There's a lot of things. I had a great experience until my senior year, and then it just went downhill from there. So,
And I think you can even I mean, when all of us were in, which Trey, you're probably the youngest out of us. I mean, even when we were in high school, like the way things are done, the way things are, the way kids are, how they are, is so drastically different today than it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, whatever it is. Like, there's so many more added pressures. There's so many more added, you know, you know, anxiety is higher in kids for some reason today than it was, and stress levels are up, and it just I'm right there with you on all of it. One, it's there's too much money in it, and there shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Let me get these test scores really, really high, so the school gets an extra 50K this year for whatever. it should be, are the kids actually learning and not just remembering? Like I know Trey and
Mhm.
I have had this conversation 1,000 times if we've not had it. I mean, we've had this, we've talked about it a lot, which I thought would be good just to get perspective. And it's too much testing. It's too much emphasis on this one big test that determines everything at the end of the year, and none of the work prior really matters.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And if you
Yep.
think about alignment with real life, and yes, I definitely understand. There's plenty of life scenarios and job scenarios in the real world that are high stakes, and you have one shot. If you're landing an airplane, you don't get a redo. So yes, there's definitely context and scenarios for that. But if you truly think about a majority of what people go on to do after their schooling with their lives, professionalism, whatever, um, a lot of it really truly is project based, or you're working on or similar tasks for an extended amount of time, and there's repetition with it, and you have opportunities to revisit things, and you have opportunities to dig into resources. Most bosses that I've ever worked for don't care if I'm an expert on something sitting in front of them. They want to know that they can trust me to go back to my desk and be able to find that information, right, or be able to handle the situation at hand. um, but my two biggest takes, and I'm sorry I'm being long-winded here, Nick, but this is just to offer things to people who are at home and maybe feeling frustrated with the education system, because I can promise you, your child's teacher is on the other end of it, probably feeling very similar things, even if there's some sort of disagreement that you think is at play. They probably do agree with you to some degree. Um, Two things that I think will change a lot of people's experience with their schooling or their family's schooling is number one, you have to have time of your day and of whoever the student's day is off devices. Um, Creating an environment for especially developing brains where it's just this constant loop of high, fast, um, eh, stimuli where it's constant lights, sounds, things moving, constant entertainment. We as humans need to know how to be able to drill down and focus on something and, in a sense, be bored sometimes, because it allows us to think about things. It allows us to process emotions, things that we're learning. It allows us to learn things long term better. So, I get it. I love my devices too, but like, just give it a little time. And to that point, read. Um, the number one determining factor for whether a student will have long-term academic success that is consistently correlated in research is how much students are reading. Um, if you are reading, you are developing the ability to think and process new information. You will develop the ability to help self-educate in certain scenarios. Do those two things, and it will change your life. Low stimuli environments, and honestly, you could work those in at the same time. Read and develop a love for reading. Find something you like, because that's really, really going to change your school experience, in my opinion.
that's some great info. What
Yeah.
would, if both of you could change one thing about the school system, what would you change?
I think teachers have a lot of burdens on them now because, and I don't know, Trey, I don't know if this falls into all the standardized education or not, but it seems like once we went to standardized education, everybody's supposed to be at the same level, right? And we want them on that same level. But then we have how many students with an IEP, individualized education plan. So now, if we're looking at students and teachers and the workload involved for everything, it's no longer equal. Teachers they have to do so much more now because of these IEPs, and they have to make sure that they have it right for each kid. And I mean, for me, I know it's needed. I do know that it's needed. I just don't know what that answer is to fix that issue. But I feel like teachers do not make enough money to have as much on them as they do either.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's honestly a really, really great point. And I've known, it's never in particularly happened to me. I've definitely had a couple classes before where I was like, wow, this is a lot of this is a lot of education plans because IEPs, of course, aren't the only ones that you can get. There's other ones that are a little bit more less learning related and a little bit more like health related, but still have a lot of structure that you have to follow. Um, so I've definitely had some groups where I was like, wow, this is going to be a lot to like manage all these things and hit all these points throughout a single week or a single day. Um, but I've definitely known some people where the number of IEPs that they had and the overlapping either small group or one-on-one needs that they had to meet on a day-to-day basis was actually like an impossible task. Um, and so that becomes a balancing issue because I've looked at peers before and said I'm sitting there looking at the paperwork with them, trying to help them a little bit and saying like you can't with the schedule that we have, you can't do all these one-on-ones on a daily basis. We're going to have to pull in another person to your classroom to do this, which means you have to find a person. Um, I'm gonna pivot from that. That was a really great point. Definitely agree with it on all fronts. I would probably even start by addressing like I think that I don't think that any student should go to school and pay for lunch. I think that every student should go to school and just be fed. And I think that we as a society should just figure out a way to do that. Um, so I personally would start there, and of course, there's lots of work to be done, and we are fortunate in that we have a lot of really passionate people who are still playing the game that are in there and want to make those changes. So I don't have, I haven't lost hope for the future, but I think it starts with just making sure that people are taken care of, because schools are communal. It's a communal space. So I always thought about it as a community. If I see someone hungry, I have food, you get food. If I see someone who's cold, I have resources to get you a jacket. We're getting you a jacket today. What's your size? So
Yeah.
Those are great points. I really like the idea that teachers are overwhelmed and have all this kind of put on them that 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, maybe they didn't have. So that's great. And then Trey, I'm right there with you. I mean, as a society, we should be at a point where you know there isn't hunger. There isn't kids going to school that are not eating. We're blessed that the schools that Jay's been in to have free lunch everywhere. So um, no, I think that's great. And also, it's a topic that at some point we need to get you back on and dive a little deeper into, and maybe even talk about resources that people can jump into and have, and because I know there's probably a lot of resources and a lot of things out there that can help with getting kids free lunch or helping get these teachers a little more help. So we'll do that. We'll at some point we'll change it up. We'll get you back on and we'll dive into this a little bit deeper. So, but let's not be so heavy and let's make it a little light here. We're gonna go into a little nerdy, right? We're gonna get nerdy, and what's a better way to be nerdy than do some trivia, right? And I know Trey well enough that I could have gone a couple of routes. I thought about he's a big Pokemon guy. Wow. Um, he just wants another entrance. I thought about Pokemon because he's a really big Pokemon guy, loves it, plays all the games, Pokemon Go. But what his real passion, I think, is Star Wars. So if you want to make your grand entrance, Trey, with Star Wars, by all means, come back to us. There you go.
but it's not dark enough to really get the lighting great here. But
We could see it.
pay for effort, maybe.
So we
Yeah,
got a
we might
little,
have
Back on the wall.
We might
Right.
have to test you on that to see if you get an A.
Oh, yeah, I know. Now I'm worried. Like, what if he pulled like some obscure facts that reference books I haven't read or something? And I have read a good number of Star Wars books, but hang on, let me get rid of my. No, I should keep the Sith lighting. I should.
Yes.
This is good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like this. All
All
right.
right.
So I've got Star Wars trivia for Trey. I've got Friends. She picked it. She's got some Friends trivia. I've got 10 each. Let's see how you guys do. You ready?
Before we start, I do just want to let everybody know I go to bed every night watching Friends. I've seen every episode. I suck at trivia. It's like the test for me. So here we go.
This is gonna be good. All right, Trey, here we go. What planet is Obi-Wan Kenobi from?
Oh my gosh, no. His origin I think comes is like pretty well told in a book. Um
You knew it wasn't
I
gonna be easy.
No, these are so obscure, and I haven't read a lot of the because I'm not a huge I have to take ownership of this. I'm not a huge prequel fan. I don't hate them. I was never bullying anyone online. I'm not part of the fandom menace. But I will not naturally gravitate towards prequel content. But that's okay because Obi-Wan is iconic. Um, I believe that he had a brother. Um, I genuinely am stumped here. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna throw out a random guess. And I'm quite confident that either of my closest guesses would be wrong. Um, but I will go ahead and say, um, this is so wrong. I'm gonna say Corellia. It's not Corellia because I don't think it's a very populated world. I think it's way less
No.
populated than that. What is it?
Stu John.
Yeah, that's straight from a book. That's
Yep.
straight from a book. Man, that's a deep cut though. I love that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Variations of what line have made it into every single film in this saga?
Got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this. It has been in every variation of the movies, or a
Unacceptable.
variation of that has been in every movie. Um, true or false? I didn't know this one. So true or false? R2D2 originally had dialogue with actual speaking parts.
That's true, because he swore like a sailor, and it's funny because if you look at the structure of the dialogue as it exists in the movies today, there's still C-3PO, is always, "Oh, oh," he's very reactive, like he's thrown by what R2's saying, and that's essentially because in those parts of the original dialogue, R2 was essentially giving him, the business, with some of those curse words, and I believe before, in the original scripts as well, before C-3PO became, the sort of flamboyant butler stereotype, because that wasn't how he was originally written in the script. That was, the result of oh my goodness, who's the gentleman who played him who just passed away not super long ago? Iconic actor who played C-3PO. Um, oh my
I have
gosh,
a
this is
computer right here.
wonderful.
I'll look it up.
Please look it up. We have to say this man's name, because I'm honestly embarrassed that I'm not saying it in this moment. So incredible. But in the original script, while he's looking that up, C-3PO was written as kind of a used car salesman, kind of scummy type. Um, and it was the actor who played him who brought in the flamboyant butler personality, which is so funny because everyone knows it.
Anthony Daniels.
Anthony Daniels.
What's
Uh,
up? All right. Next
R.I.P.
question. You did get that one right. That was right. How many estimated deaths are there in the original trilogy?
I don't know how one would estimate that because you have two, not one, but two Death Stars exploding. Um, you have the entire planet of Alderaan. I think my earbuds just died. That's okay.
We still hear you.
Okay, look at that. Reacting on the spot. Teaching skills. How do you estimate like two man-made moons and a planet, plus all the like blasters? Are we counting Luke's hand?
Deaths. Give me a
Uh,
number.
You know what, Nick? This goes back to the conversation we had just yesterday about quantifying things with numbers that don't need to be quantified with numbers. The point of quantifying something with a number is to get an exact amount. This is just a subjective thing. Okay, so I
Give
mean,
me a number.
I probably put at least 100,000 on the first Death Star, and that's probably like a pretty conservative estimate given its size. Probably maybe more like 500. So let's do 500 for the first Death Star. I think the second Death Star was like 2 or 3 times the size. It was quite a bit bigger. So let's go 500,000. Let's go 1,000,005 for that. So we're already at 2 mil. I'll put another 2 just for the planet of Alderaan, and I feel like that's a pretty conservative estimate for a whole planet. But Star Wars has this weird thing where like there's only so many people on a planet, and somehow you always land and like find someone, like who you're looking for, which is a whole nother thing. So that's 4 mil right there. We've got a couple battles in the mix, so let's just tack on another 500 thou. And I think I'm gonna way undershoot this, but I'm gonna put let's go 4.5 mil.
Yeah, you're nowhere close. The estimated death toll for the original trilogy is 2,795,192 deaths.
Yeah, I mean, it's galactic wide. You have to consider scale, right? Every battle we've ever seen in real life has been contained to one planet. So
That's stupid.
I love
It
the
was-
two.
Yeah. I don't know. 92. I don't know.
want to know
So,
who made a source.
I don't know.
Who made this number up? Because
I don't
they just made that up.
I'll have to go back and look. I have no idea. All right, next question because I got to get through these. What was Han Solo frozen in, and for how long?
Carbonite, and I get the feeling that we might not have a clear answer on the timeline here because I believe there's a little discrepancy between some implications of the movie, books, as well as recent comic timelines having Han in Carbonite the entire time. I think it's about a year though. Yeah. Okay. Nice. We're in
Got them both.
agreement there. Cool.
Got them both. Here we go. All right, next one. Let's see. What is the name of the female member of the Jedi High Council who is the same species as Yoda?
Oh, that's Yaddle.
On it. That's it. That is correct.
Great Jedi.
Okay, let's go. What species is native to Endor?
That would be the Ewoks.
On it again. Here we go. Now we're on a roll. Now we're getting somewhere. What kind of vehicle did Rey live in?
Did Rey live in? Oh gosh. She was scavenging in Star Destroyers, but she didn't live in a Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
But okay. Rey lived on Jakku, and the reason that those fallen vehicles were there is because of the Battle of Jakku that happens. I think within a couple months of the end of Return of the Jedi. So it would have to be either of late Imperial make or something used by the Rebellion. I feel like it's probably not a Rebellion vehicle though. I really don't remember. But I will take a guess and I will go. I'm gonna say Lambda shuttle, maybe like an Imperial shuttle or a Lambda class vehicle.
Nope, it was an AT-AT.
That probably would have been my second guess, but that's okay. I'll take it.
All right, two more real quick. Here we go. What is the color of C-3PO's arm in Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Red.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, there's a whole side comic about how the red arm happens.
All right, here we go. What did R2-D2 realize about C-3PO when they first met?
When they first met, so I want to ask a clarifying question here. Are we talking about when they first met, when the first time we saw them meet on screen, or when they
Yes.
first met in episode 1?
When we saw them meet for the first time ever.
Gotcha. So, I mean, his initial realization would probably be that C-3PO doesn't remember or recognize him because R2-D2's memory was never wiped, and
Nope.
C-3PO's was.
Nope, that wasn't it.
Oh.
R2-D2 realized that C-3PO, when they first met, was naked.
Can I have an explanation? Maybe there's like a line that I'm forgetting. What's happening here?
I remember it. I don't remember the line.
I'm gonna look this up later.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think I meant more
You went,
misses than hits.
you went 6 for 10.
Oh,
They were
okay. I
tough.
didn't realize I had a majority there. That was rigorous. That was very
That was
rigorous.
tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. We got to do that one again. We got to do that
Mhm.
one again.
My butt.
Ricky, yours should be better. These were pretty easy that I think I would have even gotten, and I've not seen all the episodes. Ricky's Friends episodes trivia. Here we go. How many seasons of Friends are there?
18.
No, 10.
I would have said 9
Rick?
there. I would have said 9 there. Do I know more about Friends than Ricky?
I didn't think I'd have to use it. All right, here we go. That's an easy one. All right, Joey played Dr. Drake Ramora. I don't know how you say the last.
Ramori.
Ramori. Drake Ramori. On which soap opera show?
Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives is correct. Here we go. Now we're on it. Here we go. She's got a yes here. All right. How many times did Ross get divorced?
Ooh, that's hard. 3.
That is correct. 3.
I wasn't sure if the one where he said to Rachel was if that was ever actually a marriage and a divorce. I couldn't recall. But I have
3's
it.
the answer though.
Okay, good.
What store does Phoebe hate?
What store? Oh, hang on. Rachel bought a table from there or a chest or something from there and had to lie to Phoebe about where she got it from. Oh, come on, Ricky. Come on.
Trey, don't give the answer, but do you know it?
No, I've never seen a full episode of Friends like end to end. No.
What you got, Ricky?
I got Pier 1 Imports, but I'm not 100% sure that that's right.
Pottery Barn.
That's what it was. Pottery.
Mm.
It began with a P.
You were
That's
close.
why Pier 1.
You were close. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Rachel got a. Say what?
Attacked by a cat.
Oh, okay. Spray it. There you go. Spray bottle ready. All right, here we go. Rachel got a job with which company in Paris?
Gucci?
Nope, Louis Vuitton.
I was gonna say that, but only because it's the only French company that I know, or it just sounds French.
Yeah.
All
Now
right,
I'm gonna be
Ricky.
embarrassed if it's Italian.
All right, Ricky. True or false? Rachel kissed all of her friends, male and female, co-stars on the show.
True.
That is true. She did.
You know what? Slay.
No, just never mind. We're not going there. Who pees on Monica's leg
Joey.
after she is? That was really quick.
Did she tell
And
her
it was
it was
actually
raining?
After she
Chandler.
was stung by a jellyfish.
It was Chandler.
Was it really? Oh, right. Joey couldn't. He panicked.
He couldn't pee. You answered that one too quick. You should have thought.
I was so what? Listen, I would have said Joey even if you'd have finished the question because I was so sure because I'm thinking of them telling the story and they were definitely leaning to Joey doing it. And
He just
then
couldn't do
I
it.
forgot that he couldn't.
He got stage fright.
Yep.
He was an actor. He shouldn't have been. Okay.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt and David Schwimmer's characters co-founded what club in high school? Brad Pitt and David Schwimmer's characters co-founded what club in high school?
I honestly do not know.
The I Hate Rachel Green Club.
Yes. I was like
Well,
sitting here like chess club, dork club, whatever.
It's all good. Last two are probably my favorite two questions, and I love it. Because I came up with these, I didn't need the website. What is the name of Ross's pet monkey?
Marcel.
Marcel is correct. Here we go. The last one's the best question that I came up with, and I'm super proud because I know this one, and I love it. Joey and Chandler's TV guide is addressed to who? Love this one.
Hmm.
They were all sitting around. This is the night they were doing the trivia game. They were all going around. And I think Rachel was asked this question. And she answered right away. And somebody stopped them and was like, oh. And then they answered what it's actually addressed to.
I have no idea. If I had to take a guess, it would be that cantankerous old man neighbor, but I can't even think of his name. But
Miss Chenandler Bong. Miss Chenandler Bong.
I did not know that. Like at
I
all.
love that was one of my favorite episodes. So well, Ricky, let's see. You got 1, 2, 3. You went opposite. You went 4 of 6.
See, so now you guys know where my daughter gets her bad testing skills from.
He also did not pull easy questions on either front there. That was hard.
Yours was super hard. I should
Yeah.
have known more of mine.
Ricky should have got at least 6 out of 10.
I should have.
Trey, I picked hard ones for you because I'm like, he knows this stuff. He's gonna know every one of these. So,
Yeah, there's a lot, but there's a lot there, So
all right. Well, we appreciate you hopping on. We will have you back on point. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It is our longest episode to date. We're at 57 minutes, and I'm not editing any of it out except Ricky's potty mouth word. Ricky.
Not that bad. I mean,
I did it. I didn't cuss the whole time.
Beavers
Ah.
build dams.
Yeah, but that's not the one you were referencing. It's okay though. I'll edit that one piece out if I can remember where it's at. So,
I'm sorry. Question 1, right when I got question 1 wrong.
Okay, perfect. I can find that easily. So, but Trey, thanks hopping on. Appreciate it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Like always, guys, be certain in who you are. Be certain in what you do. We are certain that we're going to be entertained by ourselves and our guests. And that's it, man. Be certain in who you are. Be certain in what you do. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.